Hey there. Um, we got some rain last night. It's beautiful, and I was asked to give an update, and just wanted to do that. Yesterday we did a bunch of yard work here, and anyway, um, just excited that spring came. Couldn't believe it because last week Monday rolled around and the trees didn't even have any leaves on them, and then by the end of the week they're just full on out and bloomed. And I'm going to show you the orchard here. It's so beautiful, and we're going to have tons of apples this year, which means we're going to have a great big party every year. For those of you that don't know, I invite people, lots of people, tell them bring their bottles, and we process apples, make applesauce, apple pie filling, apple cider. Anyway, you can see here just the beautiful blooms and just the green grass and valley. Fun favorite part of the year for me. Anyway, I appreciate Kate wanting me to do an update. And I don't read articles very often of the media because anyway, they're just pretty biased, and I don't know that people agree with them or not, because they seem to really take a liberal turn, and it's hard for me to believe that people believe the stuff that they say. But maybe I'm, I always question whether I'm the crazy one or not, because I just don't see it the way that it appears that most media sees it. And this last one that I read, which again, I don't read very many, but had a friend send it to me, and it was referencing a few things, so I read it, and they're really emphasizing how I'm a radical. And the more I think about it, I'm like, well, I'm certainly a zealot, if you will, or I'm zealous in these things, but I also look at I wasn't always that way, and look what kind of drove me to that. And so if you want to call me a radical, that's fine. I don't really think that's a bad word. They try to make it a bad word. But I've been married for almost 22 years to Lisa, who I love very much, and she loves me very much. We've got 6 children. My oldest is married. Her son's going to school, engineering, her husband and her son, who's just a little guy, a couple months old, is new to our family, and we enjoy very much. And they're doing well, and my oldest is on a mission, LDS mission in out east, and he's doing well. And then my other children, they're just all wonderful people, very intelligent, very honest, and they're better than I was at their age. And so, I obviously have to give my wife all the credit that she deserves, but I try to play the role as a father and as a husband and as a provider and all of that. Speaking of that, I've been in business my entire life. I've employed hundreds of people, and I don't think any of them would call me, radical or I don't know. I employed hundreds of people, and I've, given them their paycheck and cared for their families and loved them and appreciated what they did. And, those are the things that we did. And I've developed, I've been a leader in an industry that I was in, and I also developed software that's leading software, and just showing these things. Now I have little projects like this truck right here that were restored for my son, and so my goal is to spend time with them and love them, and also give them a cool vehicle to drive and teach them skills, so that they can take those skills and do what they want with them, and also that they can know I love them and care for them. Here's I think I've showed you this, but this is my next project. It's for actually a customer. 67 Chevy Nova. I'm very excited to do this. I learned when I was in high school from a good teacher. Learned how to do body work and restore trucks, and I've done it most of my life. And anyway, I'm just kind of going down through, a little bit. I don't care, but I think the word, radical or crazy or whatever, likes to surface. So this truck I'm going to show you here, my daughter and I restored it, and this was the truck that I first restored in high school and learned how to do body and paint. And then I stored it for like 25 years in a storage place, and then my daughter and I got together, and when she was a senior, and we restored this thing. Sorry, I have it on the front view, so it's hard for me to, there. Anyway, it's a 66 Ford F100, and my son took it on his prom last night, this date, and anyway, they had, I think it was a good time, and it was fun to see them take that car. And so, this is my life, like how I got into all that happened and all that's been happening with government and all of that was really because the government came down upon my family in Nevada, and I was in Arizona. I hadn't been working on the ranch for 20 years, but what I saw was something terrible. I saw danger. I mean, I could not believe they sent an army after my family for ranching, and that really shook me, and it made me go, I better wake up. Like, I better wake up and do all that I can, because if I don't, who's going to? And then I began to understand more and more that it wasn't just an isolated case with my family, that it was something much greater. And I've tried to stand for people ever since, the Hammonds, baby Cyrus's family, and so on and so forth. So I don't mind the title radical. I think it's probably more passionate or zealous, but you have to understand, because of what happened at the Bundy Ranch, that my whole family was thrown into prison. We were never convicted of a crime. We spent 2 years. I spent half that time in solitary confinement, and I was abused and hurt, and I was malnutritioned, and I was neglected, and there's not much you could do when you're in solitary confinement about your situation. Meanwhile, my family, my little babies, and my wife were struggling. Didn't know how long it was going to be. They were trying to sentence us to 106 years, or convict us to 106 years. And ultimately, the corruption was exposed. But that changed me as a person. I still want to believe I'm a great father, a good father. I'm a good provider. love to work and to produce. But I'm a changed person, and people need to understand that. And I don't believe that I'm born to be controlled by other people and to be forced to do certain things that I'm not okay with, and to participate in things that are actually quite wicked. And to just say that I have to do that and participate in that just because some judge or some, government official says so. I don't believe that the government should be taking babies away from loving and caring parents. In fact, I don't even think they should be taking babies away from anybody unless there's actually a crime that is committed. And that, crime could be abuse, it could be neglect, but it has to be very extreme. And even in those cases, we know that the government neglects and harms the children that they take more than even those that were caring for them prior. And that's just a fact. I think it's over 70% of children that go into the CPS system for any period of time are in some way molested. And so these are the things that I believe. I don't believe the state should be taking children. I don't believe the state should be, taking, 20, 30, 40% of our income. I don't believe the state should be raiding our homes and, terrorizing us, really for any reason. And so these are the things that I believe, among many others, that are why the media calls me radical. And so, if that's why they call me radical, then so be it. I mean, I'm extreme. I've seen extreme things. I've experienced extreme things. I spent a year in solitary confinement being abused, and 2 years in federal prison, and was never even convicted of even an infraction, not even a misdemeanor, not a felony, not even an infraction. And nobody was held accountable in government. Nobody. All the people that did it to it was completely acknowledged that they did it intentionally. But not one official was held accountable. They all moved on. They were all protected by the system. And I see this happening more and more upon just normal people, like the Andersons with baby Cyrus. And I'm going to do all that I can, and I'm not going to just let it happen. And I'm not going to just say it's okay because it's the law. And I'm not going to be like most sheriffs or most police officers that just said, well, a judge told us to. You know how many wicked things have been done by judges? Something that I point out quite often is that every single thing that Hitler and the Nazis did in Germany was legal. They took over the legislature and passed, the emergency powers, gave it to Hitler. And then Hitler did what he did through his executive powers. And everything all the way from, shooting people in the back of the head and putting them in graves, mass graves, to gassing them, to taking their property, to putting them in concentration camps, all of that was legal. And the officers, all of them did it. They all did it. And I know, people say, oh, he's using the Nazi example again. Well, wake up. That's a great example. And so, am I so extreme by recognizing this and by learning from the experiences that I have been part of? I don't think so. To me, it seems extreme that people would allow these things to go on, or that they would actually participate in them because they're being ordered by, one person who thinks they have authority to do that. and then it just cycles into terrible things. That seems extreme to me. Stopping it, while we can, while we have the ability to, doesn't seem extreme to me. But that's where we're at, and I just wanted to, give you an update that we're here, we're happy. My grass is, you can see where the where all the tents were on my grass, and so it's recovering, and people, have watched out for us and given us enough time to file some things and do some things and give some notices. And although we're definitely not in the clear here, we believe we have good grounds to and we've asked the right people to back off this thing and don't try to come and arrest me and do all these things, because we've got some petitions and notices, and we're working on trying to get this resolved in the correct manner. And meanwhile, we will defend ourselves and just work this. But it's completely peaceful here, and completely contrary to what the media wants to say. And anyway, just wanted to give you an update, let you know that we're okay, and kind of my thoughts. And I'll try to update you again here in a little bit. Thank you.